All right, so I don't really care about my hair, right?
Uh-huh.
But like getting a haircut at this one place that I found, it's a ritual. So first is like I used to go to this biker place where you just go and it's like $7 haircuts.
Uh-huh.
So you just go and you get what you pay for. It. They don't give a shit. You
Yeah.
wait in line and there's like 80% of the place is like not white people, right? It's like
Mm-hmm.
there's a Latino guy that's cool. The guy that used to cut my hair was I forgot Vietnamese.
Mm-hmm.
There's also some Thai people and like there's just a mix of everything. And there's two guys that own the place that are like ex biker gangs.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, whoa, what the fuck? Like how did this place come to be, right?
Well, at least you know if you get a bad haircut, you're not complaining because
Yeah,
like
definitely not. You just
yeah, it's great. It's great. It
put
looks great.
hey, how's this shit looking? You're like, yeah, I love that. And
Yeah.
you go get it fixed next door.
Yeah.
No, but like this place, you go in, you pay $7, and you get what you pay for. This guy just basically cuts, your hair with just a machine and
Mm-hmm.
a couple touches or whatever. And every time I would get my haircut the same way, and I'm like, dude, you know what? This, at that point, it's like they had like a realization. Is that what you said? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? I dyed my hair for the Scandal concerts.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, you know what? Maybe taking care of the hair is, not $7 haircuts. So I was like, you
Mm.
know what? I'll find a good place that is maybe more expensive, but not like $50. Okay.
Yeah.
So I found this place that's like between 10 and 20. So I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. They change the price all the time. Like sometimes I come in, it's like, oh, $15. The next time I come in, $18. I'm like, okay. Whatever. So I don't carry cash in my wallet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everything I buy is with credit cards or online. So I don't have any cash. So if I'm gonna go get a haircut and I do it with the credit card, I did it one time. It was awkward as fuck because I was like, okay, how much do I owe you? She's like 15 or something. All right, can
Uh-huh.
you charge me like 22 or like 20? And
Yeah.
she's like, oh, okay. But it's like it's on plastic, so it's kind of weird, right? So
Yeah.
like, cause she's charging me for the tip because I can't do it after because there's
Yeah.
it's the credit card. So she was like, okay, just put 20 and then charge it. It was awkward. So I was like, you know what? Now every time I go get a haircut, I have to wake up 30 minutes earlier or get ready 30 minutes earlier, drive down to the ATM, and
Mm-hmm.
then you can't get $25 out of the ATM. So I had to get like
Yeah.
40 out. And then I had to go through the drive-thru of a fast food place, get some breakfast, and
Uh-huh.
I had to pay with a cash so I could break the 120. So I go to
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A, get a chicken sandwich. It was damn good. And then the guy gives me a 10 back. I'm like,
Mm.
fuck, I should exchange it into two fives. So I
Yeah.
had, I had a 20, a 10, and three ones.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, damn it. Okay, so I go to the haircut place. It's Thursday morning, so there's not many people, but all the seats are taken except one. There's a lady that cut my hair last time. So last
Mm-hmm.
time I was going to a wedding, so I was like, you know what, can you just get me ready for a wedding? She's like, oh sure. She did a haircut that fit my face or whatever,
Yeah.
and that was that. And then she's like, okay, what are we doing here? She says. I'm like, I don't really
Haircut?
care.
I don't know.
I'm like, can I just get it short and like just do whatever you want with it? She's like, what? I'm like, yeah, can you just like cut it short? And then she's like, okay, but what do you want? Like,
This is the
she's just
same problem I have with sandwich places. Like, I go up to them and I'm like, I'd like a sandwich. And they're like, okay, so bread? And I'm like, yeah. And
yeah.
then they look at me like, what's next? I'm like, I don't know. You make the sandwiches. Like, I just buy them. I don't know
Yeah.
what goes into it. Like,
Oh man. It's this exact same way. So she's like, okay, but I know it's a haircut, but what do you want? I'm like, I don't really care. Can you just like cut it?
yeah,
She's like,
exactly.
okay, but do you want me to style it? I'm like, I don't fucking know. I don't really care about it. And she's like, oh, she's like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, I'm sure. I mean, I'm here, right? All right. But do you know that face when he's like, all right, like, I'll try my best. Like, what the fuck? Like, you're a professional.
Can you not find just
Yeah,
a
can you
haircut
not, like, I
that,
mean, it's like that when they just roll their R's. It's like, all right. Like, oh my god. So I sit down and and you know how like when they're cutting your hair like with the scissors or with the machine, they'll bump into your head or they move the head a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'm just sitting there, and she's moving my head. She's passing the razor over or the machine thing, and it's moving my head slightly to the right, right? And then she grabs my head and moves it back to the middle. And she's like, just hold your head like this. I'm like, bitch, that's what I've been doing. But you keep moving the head every time you put the fucking machine on. But this happened throughout the fucking 30 minutes. Like, she kept doing it over and over. I'm like, oh my god. I just want to, like, stand up and be like, bitch, stop moving my head. For reals. Like, I'm just sitting there, right? Just minding my own business. Or like they have this. I was on the furthest seat next to the wall. They have this like 80-inch like huge plasma TV or something.
Yeah.
They're playing the basketball game, right? So I'm like, okay, that's cool. So I'm looking, and she moves my head to the left side. I'm like, I'm trying to watch the fucking game. Why'd you have a screen over here? You know? Would you have a screen over here? Move them all the way to the left every time. What's the fucking point?
Those chairs are like, you can rotate them, like,
yeah,
you can
right,
point the
right.
person at the screen if you want their head to be straight.
Oh my god. I just noticed that. Like, I could have rotated towards the screen, and she wouldn't have to be smashing my head back into place every time. But,
Oh my god.
And then, it's over, and my hair's short, but she left this kind of like a wave thing in the middle. And I can't complain because I told her basically do whatever you want, right?
Yeah.
So I'm looking at her in the mirror and she's like, do you want it shorter or is that good? I'm like, I don't really. I just nodded, smiled. It's like, sure, this is great, whatever. I don't really know how I feel about this. It's a pretty big step. My hair is usually big.
Yeah.
And I've never had this style of haircut before. Last time it was like a different thing. So now it's like, hey, is this alright? I'm like, I'm not a fucking hairdresser. Like, I don't cut hair. I don't know if this is alright or not.
You know what's hilarious is that I'm thinking about your experience here, right? And how you're like, just give me a haircut and how hard that was. And
Yeah.
friggin' Glenn and I were in Japan, and we went to the hairstylist, that like Tomo goes to or used to at least.
Yeah.
And Glenn got a haircut, and like, okay, so neither me nor Glenn really speak Japanese,
Right.
and the hairstylist really only does the long hair, and Glenn has short hair.
Right.
And still, he walked in there and was like, I want a haircut. And they took care of him.
They were like,
Can't-
just sit down, and then he cut his hair, and that was it.
Can't even communicate. He sat down, they shampooed it, they cut his hair, and it was great. It was just what he wanted. Just cut it, like, and
Yeah, I just want to cut.
that was like through the language barrier and everything.
Oh man, yeah, it's such a problem, dude. In America, people are just picky because they can. Like, if you go to a place and you're like, can you get this burger with no pickles? They'll be like, no. They'll be like, what do you mean no? Like,
Yeah.
be like, bitch, you can't get that. That's the fucking pickle burger. You can't have a pickle burger with no pickle. That's the whole point,
Yeah.
So I think it's just like an American thing to just have like, oh, I want a haircut, but can I get it with shampoo? Can you not cut that back a little bit? Like, can you just cut it on the right side or something? I'm like, just cut it,
What always drives me crazy is that, like, and I realize this is like whining against nature or something, but like, I have to pay for haircuts over and over and over just to get my hair back to where it was, like, before. Like, I'm not even getting anything new out of it. I'm just not getting something bad, and I have to pay for it. I don't know why. That just bugs me.
I know, but I mean, the thing is, you could do it yourself, but then one of the worst things you could do is get a bad haircut.
From yourself?
I mean, well, that would be even, then they'd be like, people would be like, who the fuck cut your hair? And you're like, oh, I did it myself. You're like, oh,
And they're
that
like,
makes sense.
yeah, now I see it.
Yeah, okay. Because they want the name of the person that cut your hair, so they don't go there. So when you say that it was yourself, then they're like,
Oh,
okay.
thank God.
Thank God you didn't pay at least, because
Yeah.
that'd be like robbery instead of just negligence when you do it yourself.
I think it's a crime, actually, what they did to your hair.
Oh man. Oh, yeah, so the lady's like, okay, is that okay? I'm like, just smile and nod. She's like, yeah, sure, I'll take this, whatever.
Mhm.
Basically, just get it over with. And I'm like, okay. And she also shaved with just a machine, just shaved the whole beard and the mustache.
Uh-huh.
So it wasn't. She didn't use the razor, so it wasn't like an actual shave.
Yeah.
Like when you get shaved by a barber, they'll be like, they'll do the whole thing, like they'll cut it with the shave really smooth. It'd be like baby bottom, right? Super smooth or whatever. But she just cut it, and then she's like, do you want like the whole thing, or can I just leave the shade on? Like, I'm like, that's fine, just leave the shade on. He's like, how much do I owe you? She's like, 18. I'm like, I think I paid less last time, but I'm not gonna argue to put. I already got the haircut. It's like 18. So I open up my wallet and I have a 20, a 10, and 3 ones. So I'm like, oh, how do I do the tip?
Yeah.
So I was willing to go 25.
That's a pretty generous tip if you're not totally satisfied.
Well, I mean, they don't care that much. So it was like, I really think
Oh,
the
except for that part where she's pushing her head around.
Oh, well, yeah, except, I mean, that was just part of the
If
experience.
that had been my experience, I probably would have tipped, like, I don't know, $2 if I wasn't terribly happy with it. Just give him a 20. So
Yeah.
what did you end up doing?
So I gave her the 20 and then the 3 ones. So I was like, I was like, but you know how it's like, I give her the thing, and then it's like the tip is already in there, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, okay, thanks. And I'm like, huh, I didn't feel bad because she didn't acknowledge the tip, but it's like, it just made me feel like, oh, it's like, oh yeah, okay, great.
There is sort of an obligation on their end to
Yeah,
be
it's
like, oh, thank you, for the extra money that
Yeah,
you didn't
it's like,
have
oh,
to pay.
But it's more like they're already like used to it. Like it's like, oh, if they charge you like say 18 and you give them a 20, they would be expecting not to give you the 2 back. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like if you give them a 20 and they charge us 18, they would probably just keep like they would just. It could lead to an awkward situation when you're like waiting for the change and they're like
I think there's sort of like, so there's, because I just got my hair cut last weekend as well, and I was noticing there's like a little fake dance there. Like you give them more money than the bill, and then they have to, like they're expecting that to be the tip, but they still have to go through the motions of starting to get change, and then you can be like, no, just keep the change. And then they say, oh, thank you, I didn't expect that to come out of there, not like the other 400 haircuts I did this week. Like, but there's a little bit of a thing there.
Yeah.